In the previous lesson, we started off Python from scratch, where we studied input function, print function, length function, and some conversions of data types from one type to another. Today, we are going to continue Python and study some more topics in Python programming. Let's go. So the first thing that we are going to study today is the mathematical operations. We already know mathematical operations. Let me add them, like plus, minus, multiplication, division, and so on. In Python, we have these mathematical operations along with some others like floor division and exponential operations. So let's study all of them. So in Python, we can do something like this. A is equal to 5 plus 10. So it will add 5 and 10 together and will assign that value to A. Let me add another variable and say that this is 20 minus 4. Let me declare C as 30 divided by 6. D is assigned a value of 4 multiplied by 2. So let's see these basic operations first, and later on we will go to the next two operations, which is floor division and exponential operation. So for example, if I print all of them, print A, and let me print all of them like B, print C, print D. So if I print all of them, let me run the program. The first is 15 because 5 plus 10 is 15, 20 minus 4 is 16, 30 divided by 6 is 5.0. We studied this in the previous lesson, that whenever we have a division operation, the result will be a float data type. The next one is 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. So these are the basic mathematical operations that we can perform in Python. Let's see floor division. Floor division is a division where we want an integer output. For example, if we divide 10 by 3, it will be 3 point something, right? So here in the floor division, we only are interested in the 3, not the point something. So floor division gives us the integer output. For example, if I declare variable A and I say that give me 10 floor division by 3. So here the output will be 3. Let's print A and run the program. It is 3. If we have it the normal division like this, the output is 3 point something, 3.333. But if we want to see an integer output instead of the floating point output, we will add the floor division, which is double division operator. So this will give us the floor division and will cut the floating point, and after that the number. So we can get the integer output from the floor division. The next thing that we see is double star, and that is exponential operation, or we can say that is the power operation. For example, if I say give me 3 power of 2, which will be 9, we can use this double multiplication operator. That means it's the power operation. If I run this, it will give me 9. 3 power of 2 is 9, and 3 power of 3 is 27, like this. We have another simple mathematical operator, that is modulus operation. In modulus, we get the remainder of the division. For example, if we divide 10 by 3, it will be 3, and then there will be 1, the remainder. So we will get the remainder here. In modulus operation, we get the remainder of the division operation. So for example, again, if I say that give me 10 modulus of 3, it gives us 1 because 10 divided by 3 is 3 and there is 1 remaining. So we will get 1 in the modulus operation. I hope you understand the mathematical operations correctly. Sometimes we get more than one mathematical operations in one mathematical statement. For example, there is a statement that has multiplication, division, plus, minus, and everything in one statement. How is that processed? Let's see. For example, if we have 10 minus 2 multiplied by 4 plus 20 divided by 5. If we have a statement like this, what will be the output of this? Let's run this first. It gives us 6. Is it processed from left to right or right to left, or what is the procedure for processing such statements? As we have operator precedence in math, we have the same thing in Python as well. For example, whenever we have more than one mathematical operators, then there are some operators that have precedence over other operators. For example, if there is multiplication and addition in one statement, multiplication has the precedence over addition. If there are parentheses, then multiplication and exponential, parentheses has precedence over everything else. So let me write the operator precedence here. Let me say operator precedence. In operator precedence, the first thing that is processed is the parentheses if it's available. The next thing is the exponential. After that, multiplication and division have the same level of precedence, and then we have plus and minus. So this is the operator precedence. When we have these operators in a statement, parentheses will be processed first, then the exponential operator will be processed, then multiplication and division, one of them, whichever comes to the leftmost side, will be processed after that, and then in addition and subtraction, whatever comes left, that will be processed first. So let's see, for example, if we have a statement like this: 10 minus 12 plus 8 in parentheses plus 2 times 10 divided by 5, and then we have plus 3 to the power of 2. So if we have a statement like this, then what will be the output of this? Let's process this manually. Let me add a comment here below. So first, as I said before, parentheses has precedence over everything else. So this will be processed first, and we will have a statement like this: 10 minus 12 plus 8 is 20, and then we have plus 2 multiplied by 10 divided by 5 plus 3 to the power of 2. So the second precedence is given to the exponential operation. Now we need to solve that. Let's add another comment, 2. Now 3 to the power of 2 is 9, so we will have 10 minus 20 plus 2 times 10 divided by 5 plus 3 to the power of 2 is 9. So that is also solved. Now in the third comment, let's see. The next precedence is given to multiplication and division, but here multiplication and division are in the same place. So whatever comes to the left side is processed first, and whatever comes to the right side is processed next. So we have 10 minus 20 plus. In these two operations, we see that multiplication comes first to the left side, and then we have division. So we will solve multiplication first. We will see 2 times 10 is 20, and divided by 5 plus 9. Now the next precedence is given to division. So that is 10 minus 20 plus 20 divided by 5 is 4. So we have 4 plus 9. Now next we only have addition and subtraction. So here again they both have the same level of precedence, but whatever comes left is processed first, and whatever comes to the right side is processed next. So we have 10 minus 20, which will be minus 10. Let's process all of them. So 10 minus 20 is minus 10, plus 4 is minus 6, and plus 9 is 3. So let's say 10 minus 20 is minus 10, plus 4 and 9 is 13, and then at the end we have 3. So 3 will be the result. Let's print this A and see the output of the program. If I run this, it says that 3 is the result of this operation, and we have this as a float because we had a division in the middle of the statement. So whenever there is a division, the output will be float. So 3 is the output. This is the operator precedence that you need to understand. We have studied this in mathematical operations in schools as well, but here in the Python programming, they have the same level of precedence as we had in math. So whenever you want to analyze and process a statement, you need to process it like this that I showed you here. So let me clean this again. Sometimes we want to print a variable in the middle of a string, and we can achieve that in Python programming by using if-string. If-string means formatted string. We can format our string in the print statement using if-string. So for example, if I have name, I want to get input from the user, enter your name, and they enter their name, then age, input, enter your age. So here I want to print both of them in one print statement. So what I can do is to print, if I say print hello plus name, you are plus age years old. I can do this as well. This will concatenate all of the strings. This is the normal string that we have. If I run this, you will get this output. Name is Steve and age is 20. This is hello Steve, you are 20 years old. That's it. But with the help of if string, what we can do is to simplify this concatenation operation, and we can do something like this. You can say if, just add if at the beginning of the string, and that will make it an if string or formatted string. We can say hello. In the middle of the string, I can add curly braces and I can add the variable that I want to print here. So I can say hello name, and I can continue my string. You are age years old. This is the same thing but very simplified and very readable. Let me run this. What's your name? That's Steve. What's your age? That's 20. And we have the same output. So we can use if string for adding variables in the middle of the string. Now that we understand the very basics of Python programming and we have studied some concepts, let's move on to a little intermediate level commands, and that is the control structure. Let me tell you that whenever we have a few statements in Python program, the flow of execution starts from the very top, from the first statement, and it comes down. This is the flow of execution of Python program. Python normally executes programs from top to bottom. We can control this flow of execution in Python by using control structures. We have different types of control structures like if statements, if-else statements, if-else-if statements, nested if statements, and loops. So we have different types of control structures. At least some of them will be studied today, and then we will study some of them in the next video. So let's begin. Let me say that we are going to study control structures. The first thing, for example, if we have a variable a and there is a value 10. Now I want to check some conditions. For example, I want to say if this value is greater than 5, print one message for me. If not, just leave it. So I can say that I can use an if statement here. If is a control structure, and the syntax is like this. We can write if, then we will specify our condition, then we will add a colon to say that this is the end of the condition, and then we will press enter to come down, and then we will add statements, executed statements. So statement, more statements, and so on. One thing you need to notice here, that whenever I press enter after adding this colon, the next statement starts from here, not from the beginning of the line. You can see that there are 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these spaces are added by default by PyCharm. This indicates that all these statements are related to this if statement. So if this if statement's condition is true, all these statements below will be executed. If this condition is false, all these statements will not be executed. This spacing in Python is called indentation. In Python, whenever we want to specify a block of code, we need to indent that block of code, so the Python interpreter can understand that all these statements or this block of code is related to this specific condition. So here, whenever we add if and we press enter, we must indent this. After execution of this if statements, if we want to continue our program and write more statements like print, we need to start all over from the beginning of the line. If we give an extra space which is not needed, this will give us an error, because in Python, spacing and indentation matters. So if in other programming languages like C++ and Java, the extra space does not matter, but in Python they do matter. The extra spaces do matter. For example, if I say if a is less than 20, print two statements. Print a is less than 20. Another print, this print statement is also related to if. That's it. But this print statement is not related to if, because this is not in the same indentation level as the other print statements that are in the block of if statement. If I run this, we will have an error, and it will say this is indentation error. An indent does not match any outer indentation level. It means that this print statement is neither a separate print statement nor it is included in the block of if statement. So it is an extra indented print statement. What we can do is to either include this in this if statement or make it a separate print statement by removing all the extra spaces. So if I write something here, independent print, if I run this, there will be no issue. A is less than 20, this print statement is also related to if, and there is independent print statement. So these two print statements are related to this if statement. This is how we specify a block of code in Python programming language. We need to indent, we need to give 4 spaces or 1 tab to indent a statement in Python and make it in a block of code. If I want to add more statements to the block of this if statement, I can just press enter, add something here, press enter, add something here, press enter, and whatever number of statements I want to add here, I can add. And remember that we can not only add print statements, but we can add any other code here that is related to this if statement. So let me remove this. I hope you have understood. So let me repeat that. In the if statement, we need to write if, then specify the condition, add a colon to end this condition, press enter, and write all the statements in this block of code. If I want to add more statements which are not related to the if statement, what I need to do is to add them in separate lines without any indentation. So this is how we write if statement. If I want to check whether this value is greater than another value, I can use the greater than operator. For example, I can say if a is greater than 20, then print a is greater than 20. If I run this, you will not see this a is greater than 20 because a is not greater than 20. A has value of 10. If we make it greater than 20, like make it 30, this time if I run the program, we will see both statements. This one, a is greater than 20 because this condition is true, and this is a separate statement which is not dependent on the if condition. So if condition is true or false, these statements will run independently. So we added a less than and a greater than operators. These are the comparison operators. We have different types of comparison operators like these ones. Let me add a comment. We can use this greater than operator to check whether the value specified to the left side of this operator is greater than the value which is specified at the right side of this operator. For example, if I say 20 greater than 10, this will return true. If I say 20 greater than 30, it will return false. So we use greater than to see whether the value to the left is greater than the value to the right. We can also use less than. It will check for value whether it's less than or not. Then we have equals. We will check equals operator, not equals, like this. Then we have greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So let's check all these operators here. So we have 30 in A. If I say A is greater than 20, this means A is greater than 20, and this will print the statement. We saw this before. Or let me change the statement. Condition is true. If I say A is less than 20, this will not print the statement. If I run this, nothing will be printed because A is not less than 20. If we make it less than 40, then this will print the statement. Condition is true. Now let's use the equality operator. In the previous lesson, I told you that one equal operator is actually an assignment operator, and we use that to assign a value to a variable. But double equal is actually the equal operator which checks both values to the left and right whether they are equal or not. So for example, we have A 30, and if I say that if A is equal to 40, then print this. In this condition, because A is not equal to 40, this will not print this statement. If I run this, nothing is printed. But if we make this 30 and say that whether A is equal to 30, then condition should be true. And if we run this time, this says condition is true because 30 is equal to 30. So we use double equal operator for checking the equality of two values. Not equal means that two values are not equal to each other. For example, if I say A is not equal to 30, this will not print the statement because actually A is equal to 30. If I make it 20 and I say that A is not equal to 20, then the condition is true because 30 is not equal to 20. So we have condition is true. Greater than or equal to means whether the value to the left side of this operator is greater than or equal to the value to the left side of this operator. For example, if I say 30, I can say that whether A is greater than or equal to 20. In this condition, this will be true because 30 is greater than 20. So one of these things is true. It's greater than 20. If I run this, condition is true. If I make it 30, this will again be true because it says A is greater than or equal to 30. So if it's not greater than, it is equal to 30. If I run this, condition is true. And if I change this to 40, this time the condition is false because this time A is neither greater than nor equal to 40. If I run this, it says nothing. So greater than or equal to operator checks that whether the value mentioned on the left side is either greater than or equal to the value mentioned on the right side. And the next one is less than or equal to, which is the same but checks only for less than. For example, if I say less than or equal to 40, this will be true because 30 is less than 40. If I change it to 30, again this is true because this is equal to 30. But if I make it 20, this will be false because this time 30 is neither less than nor equal to 20. If I run this is printing nothing. So these are the comparisons operators which we use in the conditions to compare two values with each other. Now that we understand how to use comparison operators if conditions, let's write a program. So we need to write a program to get the age of a person. If they are 18 or over 18, they can play volleyball, and if not, they cannot play volleyball. So what I need to do is to get the age of the user. Age is equal to input, enter your age. User will enter their age, but because input returns a string, we need to convert that to integer. So I can say int, convert it to int, and then assign it to age. After that, let's check age. If age is greater than or equal to 18, if the age given is 18 or above, then we can print a message, you are allowed to play volleyball. And if I run this, enter your age. Let me first enter 12. If I run this, nothing is printed. If I run it again and say that my age is 20, press enter, it prints you are allowed to play volleyball. Here the if condition checks the age, whether it is greater than or equal to 18 to print this message. If I run it again and provide a value of 18, still it's going to print the message because we have used greater than or equal to operator. So this will be true in two conditions, whether that is equal to 18 or above. Now the question is, what if I want to say that if you are greater than or equal to 18, you can play volleyball, but if you are not greater than or equal to 18, you cannot play volleyball. I want to print another message in the case whether the person is not greater than or equal to 18. We can do that in the else block. This is the if block, and if I want to add an else block, we can do that as well. Let me press enter, but remember we should not add else here because this is going to be in the block of if statement. We need to remove the indentation like this. We can even come down, and then we need to add a colon again to specify that this is an else block, which is the opposite of the if block. So if block, if it's true, this block will be executed. If false, this else block will be executed. So we can say print you are not allowed to play volleyball. If I run this time, it asks for an age, and let's say 15. If I press enter, it says you are not allowed to play volleyball. This comes because this condition is false, and in the false and opposite case, else block is executed. If it's true, then the first one will be executed. Let me run it again and say that I'm 20. If I press enter, it says you are allowed to play volleyball. So we can use if-else statement to give two conditions. If that's true, the if block will be executed. If that's false, the else block will be executed. What if we have multiple conditions? For example, we get a number, a value from the user, and we need to provide feedback whether that value is positive, negative, or 0. So there are three conditions. We need to check for positive, for negative, or for 0. In Python, we use it if, elif, and else. For example, we will say if, we will provide the condition, add a colon, then here will be the if block. Now, because you understand, so I'm not adding all the statements here. If block means that in this block we can add multiple statements. Then we can say elif, and we need to add a condition. Here, if the first condition is not true, it will check the second condition. If that is true, then elif block will be executed, and we can add more conditions. Elif, another condition, add colon, again this elif block, elif block will be executed, and so on. We can add as many elifs as we want, and at the end we can provide else block. If all the above conditions are false, then this block will be executed, else block, like this. So this is the syntax. We first provide our first condition in the if statement. If that is true, these statements will be executed. If that is false, the elif block will be checked. If this condition is true, these statements will be executed, and all the statements below will be ignored. If that is false, the next elif will be checked. If that is true, this will be executed. But if all of these conditions are false, then the else block will be executed. Let's see this in an example. As I said before, let's get a value from the user and check if that is positive, negative, or 0. So we can declare a variable by the name of value, and we can get input from the user, enter a value, and let's convert that to an integer so we can use it in the if conditions. Now let's check. If value is greater than 0, then print value is positive. Let's add another condition, and remember we need to remove the indentation to add the elif block, elif value is less than 0, then print value is negative, and at the end in the else block I can say print value is 0. Let's run this program. If I run this, it asks for a value. Let's give it a positive value like 12. If I press enter, it says value is positive. Let's run it again, provide it -2. If I press enter, it says value is negative. The first condition is false here, the second condition is true, and it executes this statement. If I run this again and this time provided 0, it goes to the else block and executes that, because the first two conditions are false here and the last one is true, so this prints this one, value is 0. So this is how we use if, elif, else block statements in Python. Let's now use a more realistic example. For example, if we get the score of a student, then we need to check. If the score is greater than or equal to 90, then they should get A grade. If the score is below 90 but 80 plus, they can get grade B. If the score is 70 plus, they get C, 60 plus D. And after that, for example, we call it fail or something like that. So let's do that. Let's get score and input, enter your score. Once we get the score, let's convert that to integer. And now let's check. If score is greater than or equal to 90, then print you get grade A. If that is not the case, score is not greater than or equal to 90, then in elif we check score greater than or equal to 80, then we print you get grade B. Let's move on to the next one. Elif score is greater than or equal to 70, we print you get grade C. Elif score is greater than or equal to 60, print you get grade D. And at the end we say that if it's below 60, then else we can say that print you failed the exam. That's it. So if I run this program and provide our input, let's provide the first condition first, that is, let's say it's 92. If I press enter, the first condition is evaluated to true and we see you get grade A. All the rest of the statements are ignored because the first statement is true. If I run this again and say that the score is 88, if I press enter here, it says you get grade B. The first condition is false, that is ignored. The second is true, it is printed, and the rest of them are ignored. Let's run it again, and this time, for example, let's say score is 34. This should go to the else block and print this one. You failed the exam, and it says you failed the exam. So this is how we use if, elif, and else statements to check for multiple conditions. Similarly, we have another concept that is called nested if statements. In nested if, we have one if under another if. So we have one if in the block of another if. And we can chain multiple if statements within each other to make it a nested if statement. Let's see that. For example, if we have a criteria like this, that we have employees level and their experience. So if the level of the employee is A and their experience is over 10, they get salary of 120,000. If level is A but experience is greater than 70 but less than 10, they get 100,000. If level is A, experience is greater than 4, then they get salary of 80,000. Let me make it 80,000. But if the level is B and experience is over 10, they get salary of 110. level SB experience is 70, they get salary of 90,000, and level SB and experience is greater than 4, then they get salary of 70,000. In all the other cases, they get salary of 50,000. Let's write this program in nested if statements. Here first we need to check for the level, and under the level we need to check for 3 conditions: greater than 10, greater than 70, and greater than 4. Similarly, in the other condition we need to check for the level, if that is B. Then under that B we need to check for the experience, if that is greater than 10, greater than 7, or greater than 4. Let's do this. For example, if we get the level from the user, enter your level. Let's say A or B. So these are the 2 options they can enter, and this should be in the input function. So we get the level and assign it to the level variable. Then we get the experience. Experience, get input from the user, enter your experience. So they will enter the experience, but experience should be integer. So let me say this is integer, convert it to int and assign it to experience. Now we need to check these conditions. If level is equal to A, if level is equal to A, then we have 3 conditions: condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3. If level is equal to B, then we again have 3 conditions: C1, C2, and C3. And in the else block we just say that print you get 50,000 salary. That is what we already know from the conditions. So let's provide these 3 statements. If level is A, now we need to check their experience. If experience is greater than 10, then we can say that print you get 120,000 salary. This is what the first case says. If level is A and experience is greater than 10, salary is 120,000. So we said if level is A, then check their experience. If experience is greater than 10, print you get 120,000 salary. In the second condition, again we can say if experience, let me say experience is greater than or equal to 10. Now we say experience is greater than or equal to 7, then we print you get 100,000 salary. That's the second one. And in the else block, or we can just specify if experience is greater than or equal to 4, then we can print you get 80,000 salary. This is what happens in the first condition. If level is A, then we need to check their experience. If experience is 10 or above, they get 120,000. If experience is below 10 but over 7, they get 100,000. But if experience is greater than 4, they get 80,000. Let's now move on to the second case. If level is B. If their level is B, then again we need to check the experience. If experience is greater than or equal to 10, they get 110. You get 110,000 salary. Now in the second condition, if experience is greater than or equal to 7, print you get 90,000 salary. And if experience is greater than or equal to 4, print you get 70,000 salary. So these are the cases that we defined. Now we can see that the inner level of if statements in this first block all depend on this level variable. If level is A, then we need to check the other conditions. If level is not A, then we need to jump to the second condition, which is level is equal to B. If that is true, then these conditions will be checked. But if level is not A and B, something else, then they get 50,000 salary. So let's run this program. In this input statement, let's give it another option C. Let me run this, and it is asking for an input. Let me expand this. Enter your level A, B or C. So let's first provide it an input of A, so we can make the condition true for the first case. Let's say A. If I provided A, remember this condition will be true. Now if I press enter, it is asking for experience. Because this condition is true, now we need to check for these conditions as well. Let me provide experience of 15 years. So this will make this condition true if experience is greater than or equal to 10, and it will print this first statement, you get 120,000 salary. Let me press enter, and it prints that message, you get 120,000 salary. So this is how nested ifs work. Let me run this another time, and this time let's say level is B and experience is, for example, 8. So this will make the second condition true, elif level is equal to B, and in this condition the second condition will be true, and we will see a message of 90,000 salary. Let me press enter, and it says 90,000 salary as expected. Let me run this for the last time and provide it level C, and it is asking for experience, which is not necessary for this condition, but we need to provide it because we have added the input statement. So even if I say 100, this will again say that you get 50,000 salary, because the level is neither A nor B, so it will jump to the else block and it will print this message. That's it. This is how we use nested if statements. So let's work on a more realistic example and consider a leap year example. If a year is divisible by 4, that is called a leap year. If not, that is not a leap year. But even if that's divisible by 4, we need to check for other conditions. If that is divisible by 100 as well, if it's divisible by 4 and divisible by 100 as well, then that is not a leap year again. Now in that condition we have another condition. If that is divisible by 4, then divisible by 100, and then divisible by 400, that is still a leap year. And after that, if these conditions are false, then that is not a leap year. So let's check this. For example, let's get year from the user, enter year. They will enter year, and we need to convert that to integer because we need to check if that is divisible by 4 or not. Now let's add conditions. If year module 4 is equal to 0, what does this mean? This means if we divide this year by 4 and the remainder of that is equal to 0. Remember, we saw modulus operator before. It gives us the remainder of the division operation. So it will divide year by 4 and we'll see the remainder. If that remainder is 0, it means that year is completely divided by 4. If that remainder is not 0, it means year is not completely divisible by 4. So let's add a colon and check for other conditions. In the else block, we can say that print, let me make it if string, and say year is not a leap year. So if the first condition is false, it's not divisible by 4, then it needs to jump directly to the else block and say that the year is not a leap year. What if that is divisible by 4? Then inside this, we need to check other conditions as well. For example, if year is also divisible by 100, then we need to check another condition. But here again we have an else block, else print, let me make it if string and say year, oops, I added if inside the double quotes, so add if here and say year is not a leap year. If it's divisible by 100 as well, now we need to check if it's divisible by 400 as well. So here module 400 is equal to 0, then again it is a leap year. So I can say if string year is a leap year. So for a leap year, it needs to meet all these conditions. It should be divisible by 4. Then we need to check if it's divisible by 100 or not. If it's divisible by 100, then it's not a leap year. But if it's not divisible by 100, then it is a leap year. Let me remove this not. I've mistakenly added not here. Now we need to check if year is again divisible by 400, then it is a leap year. If not, else print year is not a leap year, like this. So we need to check all these conditions. First, if it is divisible by 4, we need to check other conditions. If it is not divisible by 4, it will directly go to this else statement and will say that this year is not a leap year. Now what if this condition is true? It is divisible by 4. Then we need to check whether if it is also divisible by 100 or not. If it is not divisible by 100, then it will directly go to this else statement and will say it is a leap year. What if it is divisible by 100? If it is divisible by 100, we need to check whether if it is also divisible by 400 or not. If it is divisible by 400, it's a leap year. If not, it's not a leap year. Let's run this program and let's expand this output window. It asks for the year. Let me provide 2004. This is divisible by 4. First, let me give it 2005, which is not divisible by 4. If I press enter, at first this first condition is false, so it will directly jump to the last statement, last else statement, and it says that this is not a leap year. Now let's run it again and say that, let's say this is 2004. If I press enter, it says 2004 is a leap year, because let me bring the calculator and check this. 2004 divided by 4. It is divisible by 4. Check for 100 divided by 100. It is not completely divisible by 100 because we get a floating point. So when it comes to this second condition, this is not true. So this is not true. It means this statement will be printed. Let's give it another one. Let's say, for example, a year. Let me run this again. For example, let's say 1900, like this. Press enter. This says that 1900 is not a leap year. Why? Because 1900 is divisible by 4. This condition is true at first. Then it checks this one. If this is also divisible by 100. This is yes, divisible by 100. Then it checks third condition. Is it divisible by 400 as well? No. It is not divisible. Then it comes to this else statement and it says that this is not a leap year. Let's run this program one more time and say that this time we have year 2000 and it says this is a leap year because 2000 is divisible by 4. Then it is also divisible by 100 and then it is also divisible by 400. So we get this statement printed. So this is the power of using nested if statements. We can also use multiple if statements separately, independently of each other. We can use else if statements with each other, but we can also use other if statements which are independent of the if-else if block. Let's consider a pizza example. For example, if someone is ordering a normal pizza in a restaurant, they need to pay $5. If they are ordering chicken pizza, they need to pay $8. And if they are ordering special pizza, they need to pay $10. Out of that, if they need extra cheese, they need to pay $2 more. And if they need extra toppings or special toppings, they also need to pay $2 more. So let's consider this example and implement it in the Python. So what we can say that, for example, we can ask for choice or pizza type. Let's say pizza, say input, enter pizza type. What types? Normal, N for normal, C for chicken, and S for special. So they need to give an input of N, C or S. Okay. Then we need to check if pizza is equal to N, then they need to pay $5. So we can say that bill, first it is 0, and let's now add to that bill. We can say bill is equal to bill plus $5. What I'm doing here is I'm first adding 5 to the existing value of bill. So it was 0, now we are adding 5 to it, which will make it 5, and then I'm assigning that 5 back to bill. So after this, if this is true, bill will become 5. Let's now check for another condition. If pizza is equal to C, it means if it's a chicken pizza ordered, then bill is equal to bill plus 8. So if this condition is true, bill will be 5, but if that is false and this condition is true, bill will be 8. If pizza is equal to S or special pizza, then bill is equal to bill plus 10. So these are the choices. Here at the end we can also specify else, or I can say that else print incorrect input. If the user is inputting something else than NCS, then we can print incorrect input. Now after that we can ask for another thing. For example, or let me say extra cheese. Extra cheese. Let me ask the user again. Input, do you want extra cheese? If they want extra cheese, they need to add Y or N. So Y for yes and N for no. After that we need to ask another question. Extra toppings. So input again. Do you want to add extra toppings? Again yes and no. Yes and no. And actually we need to add these two statements at the beginning. So whenever they are ordering pizza, let me add those statements here. So first they need to select the pizza type, then they need to tell us whether they want extra cheese or not, and they also need to tell us whether they want extra toppings or not. So first we are checking for the pizza type and we are adding the bill. After that, this block is completely done. Then we can add other if statements like this. Remember, these if statements are completely independent of these blocks. So these if statements are completely independent. I can say if extra cheese is equal to Y, it means yes, then we need to add $2 more to the bill. So bill plus 2. Bill will have one of these three values, 5, 8 or 10, and after that we need to add 2 more if they want extra cheese. And let me add another if which is completely independent of all these if blocks. I can say if extra toppings is equal to yes, then add 2 more. Bill is equal to bill plus 2. And at the end we need to print, let me add if string, you need to pay bill amount. So whatever is in the bill, that will be printed here. Let me run this program. Let me click this run button and in the right you can see enter pizza type. Let's first add N for normal pizza. If I press enter, it will take N and it will ask the second question, extra cheese. Do you want extra cheese? Let me say no. And if I press enter, do you want to add extra toppings? This time I want to add yes. Why? So first is normal pizza, and for normal, and this first condition will be true, so we will have 5 in the bill. After that we have no for the second question, so this will not be executed, it will be ignored because this is not Y. But for the next question we have Y, it means this will be true. So we already have 5 in the bill, it will add 2 more to the bill and we will have 7 printed here. So if I press enter, this says that you need to pay 7 amount or $7, something like that. If I run it again and this time I say give me special pizza, then I want extra cheese and then I want extra toppings, it says 14 because for the pizza type we have S and that is 10, then we have 2 for extra cheese and 2 for extra toppings, it makes it 14. So in this example I just wanted to show that we can add more if statements which are completely independent of all the existing statements. So we can write completely independent if functions from these blocks. Sometimes we will have multiple conditions in one if statement. For example, I want to check whether the score is between 85 and 95. It means score is greater than 85 and below 95. Or for example, the age of a person is greater than 18 but it's below 30. Then we want to execute a special block of statements. In those conditions we need logical operators. In Python we have 3 types of logical operators. The first one is AND operator, the next one is OR operator, and the third one is NOT operator. Let's see them in action. So in logical operators we have AND, OR and NOT. What AND does, it checks for all the conditions to be true. So if all the conditions are true, the end result in AND operation will be true. If any one of the conditions is false, the end result will be false. In OR, the scenario is different. If there are 5 conditions and even one of them is true, the end result will be true. So I can say that if the age is over 18 or it is less than 10, then do this. So in OR, even if one condition is true, the end result will be true. And NOT is completely different from the others. It checks if the condition is true, it will convert it to false. If it's false, it will convert it to true. So let's see all of them in an example. For example, I have a value here that is 10 and I can say if the value of A is greater than 2 and I can simply write and A is less than 20, then say that all the conditions are met, else conditions are false, like this. If I run this program, it says all the conditions are met. Why? Because 10 is greater than 2, this condition is true, and 10 is less than 20, this condition is also true. So if I make changes here, for example, I say A is greater than 10 and A is less than 8, then one condition is true, but the second condition is false. So here this statement will not be printed. Let me run this. Conditions are false. It means the else block is executed. Let's see OR here. Let's say, for example, if A is greater than 2 or A is less than 20, both conditions are true, then the first statement will be printed. All the conditions are met. Even if I make one condition false, for example, A is less than 5, the first condition is true, A is greater than 2, or the second condition is false, a is less than 5, a is not less than 5 because it's 10. The second condition is false, but the first one is true. Still the first statement will be printed because, as I said before, even if one condition is true, the end result will be true. This is what happens with OR and AND. Let's check NOT. I can say that if a is greater than 10, print true, else print false. If I run this, let me say greater than 5 to make it true. If I run this, it's true. With NOT, what we can do is to convert this true to false. If I add a NOT here, not a is greater than 5, then this NOT operator will make this condition false, even if it's true. A is greater than 5, a is 10. But because we have added NOT at the beginning, it will make it false, and this first block will not be executed. We will see false at the end. If I run this, false is printed. So this is the basic use of AND, OR, and NOT. Let's see them in action in a practical example. For example, someone applies for a position in an organization, but the criteria is the age of the person is between 18 and 80 and also has a bachelor degree. Then they can fit this position and they are eligible. But if any one of these conditions is false, they are not eligible for this position. Let's implement this in an example. So what we can do here is to get the age of the person. Say input, enter your age, and let's convert that to integer. Then get the degree or the qualification is equal to input, enter your qualification. S means school, B means bachelor. So we are getting these two values from the user. Now we need to check if age is greater than or equal to 18 and age is less than or equal to 30, so they must meet these criteria. Age must be between 18 and 30, both of them inclusive, and check the qualification as well. Qualification is equal to bachelor, B. So the person must meet all these three conditions. The age should be greater than or equal to 80, the age should be below 30, and the qualification level should be bachelor degree. If these conditions are met, then we need to print a statement. Print, you are eligible for this position. Else, print, you are not eligible for this position. So if I run this, it is asking for age. Let's give it proper values, for example 20, then asking for qualification. Let me expand this so we can see the program, and let's provide it B. It says you are eligible for this position. Let's make a condition false here. For example, enter your age, let me say 32, which will make the first condition false. Enter qualification, even if I give it a B, bachelor, it says you are not eligible for this position because one of the conditions is false. Let me run it for the final time, give it age 23, which is correct. Qualification is S, which is false. And if I run this, it says you are not eligible for this position. So in the AND operator, even if one condition is false in all of the conditions, the end result will be false. All the conditions must be true, so the end result can be true. Let's see an example for the OR operator as well. Here there is another scenario. For example, we are getting the age of a person or a customer. If their age is greater than 60 or they are our premium members, then we give discount to them. If age is not 60 and they are not premium members, then we do not give discount to them. So one of these two conditions must be true. Either the age should be greater than 60, it means the person should be a senior person, or if they are not senior, they must be a premium member of our system, and then we can give them discount. If not, we will not give them discount. They are not eligible. So let's get the age again. Age, input, enter your age, and then convert it to int. Next is premier, get input again. Are you a premier member? Okay, yes or no, and then check. If age is greater than 60 or is premier is equal to y, it means they are premier members, then print you are eligible for the discount. Else print you are not eligible for the discount. So this is what we want to do. If their age is greater than 60 or if they are premier member, then we give them discount. If all of these conditions are false, then we do not give them discount. Let me give it greater than or equal to. So if I run this, first it's asking for age. Let's give all the conditions true, like 67, and they are also a premium member. So in this case, because both of the conditions are true, they are eligible for the discount. You are eligible. Let's make one condition false, like age is 34, but they are premier member. They are eligible because one of the conditions is true. Let me run it again. Say that age is 66. They are not premium member, but because they are a senior person, age is 66, press enter, they are still eligible. If all of the conditions are false, for example, age is 34 and they are not premium member, then you are not eligible for the discount. So this is how we use the logical operators. In AND, all the conditions must be true, so the end result can be true. But in OR, even if one condition is true, the end result will be true. I think I need to stop here because the video is getting very longer. So in this lesson, we studied arithmetic operations, logical operators, and control structures. In the coming video, we'll continue studying more topics like loops and some other stuff. Till then, you need to practice on these concepts and learn them because these will be beneficial and needed in other topics as well. So if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing this channel because we are making more videos on programming, Python, and data analysis. Make sure you like this video and leave your comment under this video. If you have any questions, make sure you ask them in the comment section so we can provide answers to you. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.